My original plan when I went to college was to be a social studies teacher. I should have stuck with it. And any assessment I've taken since then has agreed. Education has a special place in my heart. I'm a substitute teacher. Right now, I'm in a language arts classroom. In this video, I am going to begin talking about education. I'm actually going to cover an executive order called Ending Radical Indoctrination in K-12 Schooling. I'm going to try really hard not to editorialize on this because this video would end up being much longer than any of us would want it to be. So I'm just going to jump right in. In recent years, parents have witnessed schools indoctrinate their children in radical anti-American ideologies which deliberately block while deliberately blocking parental oversight. So apparently they're doing all kinds of stuff without parents being allowed to know. Students are forced to accept without question or critical examination these ideologies, these anti-American ideologies. Children are compelled to adopt identities as either victim or oppressor solely based on their skin color and other immutable characteristics. They're made to question whether they were born in the wrong body, view their parents and their reality as enemies to be blamed. It erodes critical thinking. They sow division, confusion, and distrust, and undermine the very foundations of personal identity and family unity. First of all, I'm going to say, before I get moving on, they have 3 different topics going on in this bill. There's 3 topics, 3 separate topics that should have been dealt with separately. The really 2 of them, in my opinion, don't need to be dealt with. But I digress. Imprinting anti-American, subversive, harmful, and false ideologies on our nation's children not only violates long-withstanding anti-discrimination civil rights law, but usurps basic parental authority. They're steering students towards surgical and chemical mutilation without parental consent or involvement, or allowing males access to private spaces designated for females. They're demanding acquiescence to white privilege or unconscious bias, actually promoting racial discrimination and undermining national unity. So another name for this executive order is Defending Women from Gender Ideology Extremism and Restoring Biological Truth to the Federal Government. Discriminatory equity ideology, an ideology that treats individuals as members of preferred or disfavored groups rather than as individuals. It minimizes agency, merit, and capability in favor of immoral generalizations, including race, color, sex, or national origin are morally or inherently superior to members of another race, color, sex, or national origin. An individual, by virtue of the individual's race, color, sex, or national origin, is inherently racist, sexist, or oppressive, whether consciously or unconsciously. So, yeah, they don't know what they're talking about, but okay. An individual, by virtue of the individual's race, color, sex, national origin, is inherently racist, sexist, oppressive, whether unconsciously or consciously. An individual's moral character or status as privileged, oppressing, or oppressed is primarily determined by the individual's race, color, sex, or national origin. Members of one race, color, sex, national origin cannot and should not attempt to treat others without respect to their race, color, sex, or national origin. An individual, by virtue of the individual's race, color, sex, or national origin, bears responsibility for, or should feel guilt for, or because of. They should be discriminated against, blamed, or stereotyped, or should receive adverse treatment because of actions committed in the past by members of the same color, race, color, sex, or national origin. They should be discriminated against or receive adverse treatment to achieve diversity, equity, and inclusion. I can guarantee you, getting rid of this whole DEIA, yes, he added accessibility. Getting rid of the whole DEIA is going to come back and bite a whole lot of people in their butts. Virtues such as merit, excellence, hard work, fairness, neutrality, objectivity, and racial colorblindness are racist or sexist, or were created by members of a particular race, color, sex, or national origin to oppress members of another race, sex, color, or national origin. The United States is fundamentally racist, sexist, and otherwise discriminatory. So this is what they're saying the schools are teaching. I would love for these people to actually come into a school and see what's happening here in the schools. Patriotic education that is grounded in accurate, honest, unifying, inspiring, and ennobling characterization of America's founding and foundational principles. A clear examination of how the United States has admirably grown closer to its noble principles throughout its history. Commitment to America's aspirations is beneficial and justified. We want to celebrate America's greatness and history, and that is what's proper. The definition of social transition is the process of adopting a gender identity or gender marker that differs from a person's sex. So here's a second issue. Okay, so we're talking about teaching history. We're talking about gender identity. Okay, a gender marker, the difference from a person's sex, can include counseling or treatment by a school counselor, modifying a person's name or pronouns, calling a child non-binary. Okay, I've never really, hey, non-binary, can you come over here, please? That doesn't happen. Use of intimate facilities such as bathrooms or locker rooms, specifically designated for persons of the opposite sex. Participating in school athletic competitions or other extracurricular activities specifically designated for persons of the opposite sex. I promise you, I am editing this drastically to get rid of all the legalese crud that they put in these bills. So we want to end indoctrination strategy. The Secretary of Education, the Secretary of Defense, and the Secretary of Health and Human Services, with the Attorney General, should provide a strategy to the President, make recommendations and a plan for eliminating federal funding for illegal and discriminatory treatment and indoctrination in K-12 schools, including based on gender ideology and discriminatory equity ideology. So, okay, so we're going to take away funds if we teach kids to treat each other with respect no matter what gender they are. And if a girl dresses like in boy clothes, I guess we're allowed to let them be bullied. And then discriminatory equity ideology, I guess we should no longer teach about slavery and that it was bad. I mean, because we all know they learned something important. They learned a skill. Like we're learning a skill. We shouldn't talk about the internment camps in this country of Native Americans, of Japanese Americans. We don't want to learn about those things. Interference with a parent's federal statutory right to information regarding school curriculum records, physical examinations, surveys, and other matters. I have to jump in here with the curriculum, which is designed by the State Board of Education, which is an elected board. People in your state elect your Board of Education. They elect your Board of Education. You can run for the Board of Education in your state. You can run for your local school district's Board of Education, and you can go on the Board of Education's website and find your kid's curriculum. It's not hiding from you. Interference with a parent's federal statutory right to information regarding school curriculum, records, physical examinations, surveys, and other matters. The Attorney General shall coordinate with states, attorney generals, and local district attorneys in their efforts to enforce the law and file appropriate actions against K-12 teachers and schools who violate the law by, number one, sexually exploiting minors. So I looked this up. I had to look up what the actual definition is. As per the United States Department of State, this definition is involving a child in a sexual act for commercial gain. Examples include child pornography, child sex trafficking, sextortion, the live stream of child sexual abuse, and child sex tourism. Really, if you think that's happening in schools, please come visit them. You will more than likely have to get a background check, because guess what? We all have to have a background check in order to work here. Please get the background check. Come to your schools. Find the OR. I want you to find the OR, please. Please, I've never seen one. Okay, getting off my soapbox again. They can't unlawfully practice medicine. Once again, I have been in a lot of schools and I've looked for their ORs. They don't have any. They don't have any. The nurses' offices are usually a closet. They can't give your child a child aspirin, child's Tylenol without paperwork. They are not performing medical procedures on your children. Unlawfully facilitating the social transition of a minor. So, I have a kid whose name is Emmanuel, and he goes by Isaiah. I ask my kids, do you go by a different name? And if they tell me they go by a different name, I call them that name. If Emmanuel wants to go by Josiah, that's fine. Okay? If Joseph wants to go by Joe, if Joanna wants to go by Joe, I'm going to call them that. It's just the way it is. Okay, so now we're pivoting to a third topic. Reestablishing the President's Advisory 1776 Commission and promoting patriotic education. So the purpose of the 1776 Commission is to promote patriotic education, celebrating America's 250th birthday with a grand celebration worthy of momentous occasion of the 250th anniversary of American independence on July 4th, 2026. The 1776 Commission is in charge of facilitating the development and implementation of a presidential 1776 award to recognize student knowledge of the American founding, including knowledge about the founders, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitutional Convention, and the great soldiers and battles of the American Revolutionary War. They want to ensure patriotic education is appropriately provided to the public at national parks, battlefields, monuments, museums, installations, landmarks, cemeteries, and other places important to the American founding and American history. I am all for learning history. That is my thing. I love history. Love it, especially American history. This is my thing. So I'm all about it. As long as we are teaching truth. Let's teach the truth. So that's the essentials of this bill. So let me know what you think. Executive order. Let me know what you think of this executive order. Please hit the like, subscribe, and share this video so we can get this information out to as many people as possible. Thank you. Have a fantastic day.